What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all well, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. As always, this is not going to be a main episode of the Let's Play. This is going to be a Codex read-in lore discussion episode of the Let's Play. If that's not something you're interested in, go ahead and click away now and wait for a main episode. If it is something you're interested in, then let's see what we picked up and dive in. I'm trying not to let it build up too much, so we have another 52-minute reading episode like last time. That's actually way longer than 52 minutes. It was around 1 hour 20. I ended up trimming some codex that we had already read parts of, like the updates and stuff. I did not want to release a hour plus episode, but not to worry, you won't miss them. I will go ahead and reread them whenever we get more updates for them, like the character sheets. They're constantly updating, so I came prepared, of course, with my coffee. I'm gonna take a sip of this while we start on the codex. Dragon. Newly hatched dragons are roughly the size of a deer and voraciously hungry. They live for a short time in their mother's lair before venturing out on their own. The slender, wingless creatures are born in vast numbers, as only a few ever make it to adulthood. Dragons. Female dragons take much longer to mature than their male counterparts. They too undergo a metamorphosis of sorts at adulthood, but while males lose the use of their forepaws, females actually grow a third set of limbs specifically to serve as wings. Young females travel great distances looking for a suitable nesting site. Because of their nomadic habits, these are the dragons most frequently encountered by man. Wild Sylvan. For demons crossing over into our world, mankind is not always the preferred prey. Possessing humans means risking encounters with powerful mages and templars, as well as other complications. Some demons find it far easier to seek out animals or even plants, assuming that these will make a suitable host as a human. Those that possess trees are known as wild Sylvans. Generally, only demons of rage, the weakest of the demon hierarchy, will become a Sylvan. Once they do, they must spend a great deal of time twisting and molding the host in order to make him mobile, and once they have, the Sylvan is a powerful and deadly opponent. Other, more intelligent spirits have also been known to become Sylvans, and are generally much less violent, but these are rare, like the Grand Oak Tree, my rhyming friend. Slow but immensely powerful, wild Sylvans prefer to lay in ambush, waiting for a victim to become lost, tired, or trapped before closing in for the kill. They hide among regular trees, nearly undetectable, until they begin to move into reach. When they do come to life, as some travelers say, they stand tall, roots forming into legs and feet, and branches stretching out into lashing arms. When not presented with a living target, however, it has been noted that Sylvans often fall into a form of dormancy, perhaps brought on by the nature of their tree host. While mobile, they normally return to wherever they were rooted once their prey has been killed. For both these reasons, a forest that has Sylvans within can become incredibly dangerous to pass through for very long periods of time. Already had a run-in with some of those. The Grand Oak Tree is so cool. Top 10 NPCs in Dragon Age. Werewolf. And Dane he stood his ground, the fanged beast approached. He saw the rage within its eyes, the wolf that once was there. The sword he raised, merciful death be praised, to the Maker went his prayer. From the popular telling of Dane and the Werewolf, Legend of Ferelden, circa 450 Black. Ferelden lore is full of instances where these creatures have plagued the countryside. Wolves possessed by rage demons and transformed into humanoid monsters with incredible speed and strength, able to spread a curse to those they bit that would drive them mad with unthinking fury. When in this enraged state, a human host can likewise become possessed and be transformed into a feral, wolf-like beast. Tales differ on these werewolves of human origin, some claiming that their transformation into a bestial form happens uncontrollably. Some claim the transformation is irreversible. As is often the case with demonic tales, both versions were most likely true at some point. The ability of normal dogs to detect a werewolf even when it is in human guise is what first led Fereldans to adopt dogs as indispensable companions in every farmhold. The alliance between humans and regular wolves is the subject of the popular Ferelden folktale, Dane and the Werewolf. The actual hero Dane led a crusade to eliminate the werewolf threat during the early Black Age, and while werewolves have never assumed the same prominence since, there have still been reports of individual packs lurking in remote forests. In recent years, some have even reported to have developed an uncanny willpower and intelligence, though why this is so is still unknown. Ancient Elven armor. Before the fall of Arlathan, even before Arlathan itself, the civilization of the elves stretched across all of Thedas like a grey, indolent cat. This armor was made for the temple guards in a time when the creators still spoke to the elves. The techniques of its forging, even the name of the metal it is forged from, have long since faded from memory. Falon'din, friend of the dead, the guide. O Falon'din, Lethanavir, friend of the dead, guide my feet, calm my soul, lead me to my rest. In ancient times, the people were ageless and eternal, and instead of dying would enter Uthenera, the long sleep, and walk the shifting paths beyond the veil with Falon'din and his brother Dirthaman. Those elders would learn the secrets of dreams, and some returned to the people with newfound knowledge. But we quickened and became mortal. Those of the people who passed walked with Falon'din into the beyond and never returned. If they took counsel with Dirthaman on their passage, his wisdom was lost, or it went with them into the beyond also, and never came to the people. Then Fen'Harel caused the gods to be shut away from us, and those who passed no longer had Falon'din to guide them. And so we learned to lay our loved ones to rest with an oaken staff, to keep them from faltering along the paths, and a cedar branch to scatter the ravens named Fear and Deceit, who were once servants of Dirthaman, now without a master. As told by Gisera, keeper of the Rallifaring clan of the Dalish Elves. Mythal, the Great Protector. Elganon had defeated his father, the sun, and all was covered in darkness. Pleased with himself, Elganon sought to console his mother, the earth, by replacing all that the sun had destroyed. But the earth knew that without the sun, nothing could grow. She whispered to Elganon this truth, and pleaded with him to release his father. But Elganon's pride was great, and his vengeance was terrible, and he refused. It was at this moment that Mythal walked out of the sea of the earth's tears and onto the land. She placed her hand on Elganon's brow, and at her touch he grew calm, and knew that his anger had led him astray. Humbled, Elganon went to the place where the sun was buried and spoke to him. Elganon said he would release the sun if the sun promised to be gentle, and to return to the earth each night. The sun, feeling remorseful at what he had done, agreed. And so the sun rose again in the sky, and shone his golden light upon the earth. Elganon and Mythal, with the help of the earth and the sun, brought back to life all the wondrous things that the sun had destroyed, and they grew and thrived. And that night, when the sun had gone to sleep, Mythal gathered the glowing earth around his bed, and formed it into a sphere to be placed in the sky, a pale reflection of the sun's true glory. From the tale of Mythal's touch, as told by Gisera, keeper of the Rallifaring clan of the Dalish Elves. So this is their own little version of the Greek pantheon, it seems like, how they had the, I forget the god's name, but essentially the way that that works is they have a god in a chariot pulling the sun and the moon around the sky each night. It's their own little version of that here. Cultural mythology is very cool. It's just as cool in real life as it is in this game. I know I mentioned it last Codex episode, but I highly recommend looking up the folklore and kind of folk tales from wherever you're from ancestrally. It's very cool. Uthenera. The ancient elves who existed during the time of Arlathan, Uthenera was an act of reverence. Elves did not age. They were not immortal, but they did not suffer from deterioration of mind or body. They suffered only from a deterioration of the spirit. It did not happen often, but the oldest of the elves was said to reach a point where they became weary of life. Memories became too much to bear, and rather than fade into complacency, they voluntarily stood aside to let newer generations guide their people. Uthenera means the long sleep, in which the elder would retire to a chamber that was one part bed and one part tomb. To great ceremony from all the extended family, the elder would succumb to a slumber from which they would not wake for centuries, and often never. In time, the body would deteriorate and the elder would die in truth. All the while, family would continue to visit the chamber to pay respect to one who made such a great sacrifice. With the arrival of humans and the quickening of the elven blood that ensued, the practice of Uthenera began to fade. When Arlathan fell, it ceased forever. From what has passed, by Hassandriel, Lord of Halam Shiral, 2-7 Glory. Legend of the Juggernaut. The arm of the Imperium is long. Once it reached even this forest, in a time when the barbarian tribes of the Clane still ruled the land, the Tevinter Magisters fought to take it from them, inch by inch if need be, using terrible magic. The Magister Harak brought an army to this forest, led by Alaric, his friend and general. For Alaric, Harak fashioned a suit of the finest armor, infused it with lyrium and his own blood magic, and named it Juggernaut, after the unstoppable giant golems guarding the gates of Minrathous. Thus armed did Alaric win many victories against the Clane. When defeat came, it came from within. Alaric's own lieutenants rose up against him, jealous of the favor he had curried with the Magisters and eager to take the Juggernaut armor from him. Alaric was slain, and as each successor gained the armor, the other lieutenants turned against him instead. The Tevinter outpost fell to vicious infighting. In a fury, Magister Harak voyaged to the outpost and slew the last 3 lieutenants. The Clane, however, were already approaching the outpost in force. The barbarian chieftain of the Clane desired the fabled armor himself, and even with all his power, Harak could not hope to stand against them all. Instead, Harak used the last of his own life force to cast a spell of blood magic that bound demons to the bodies of the 3 lieutenants as well as Harak's own lifeless corpse. These bound revenants hid the pieces of the Juggernaut armor, and although the barbarians sacked the outpost, the chieftain found neither the armor nor the revenants. The Juggernaut's armor legend lives on, and more than one brave soul has ventured into the depths of the Brazilian forest in search, never to return. From Ferelden, Folklore and History by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. Unbound. The riders follow after every town, ever since my lucky break deciphering the story. I see it now, how they take the locals closest to me, preventing rest or kinship. I thought this a road to glory, but I am dogged at every step by his talons. Gaxkang, curse his name in the day I heard it. Journal excerpt from an unnamed, long-dead adventurer. And I believe we are all caught up on codexes, so that's going to be a wrap for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, there is a tip link in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you guys soon with more Dragon Age Origins. Take care, guys. Have a good day.